Hey everybody, welcome back to our midweek update. It is another Wednesday. We are back on Wednesday. We took a diversion last week, or actually 2 weeks ago now was Night of Worship. Last week we had Brian Hay in here, and it is good to be back with you today with my man Fitz. Fitz, you doing good?
I'm doing great, man.
All right.
The weather has turned. It's feeling like spring. It's beautiful out there.
It's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I love it.
So I hope you guys have been able to get out and enjoy some of that nice weather. And
Christy and I left town 2 weeks ago and headed south. I won't disclose the specific location, but we headed south to some warmer weather. When we left, it was still icy and snowy. So we bottled up some warm sun, and you're welcome for bringing that back.
Thanks for bringing it back.
Yeah, we were just glad to get back to no ice, no snow, and now we're just ready for things to turn green and flowers to start blooming. Although I will say that last week I could feel the allergies already starting to kick in.
Yeah.
The post nasal drip, it's that where you stick the Kleenex up in your nose and just leave it there, to soak up
the Ohio River Valley is not a friend for that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah. So for all of you seasonal allergy sufferers, feel your pain. We're heading into that, so stock up on the allergy medicine. Maybe the COVID vaccine will get rid of allergies too. We'll just hope for that. Yeah. Which, by the way, man, it is exciting to see just where the trends are going. We're more optimistic than ever that we're seeing the end of this thing. We're seeing folks, starting to come back more and more. We had this past Sunday, man. Let's just celebrate. We had another over the top Sunday, didn't we? It was.
It was so encouraging, so exciting, and just to see the momentum, the people here, the kids. Our kids area was bumping,
Crazy,
man, off the charts.
No doubt. Yeah.
So exciting to see those kids and to see their parents here with them, and so thanks for showing up. It's cool.
Yeah.
This place is designed for life and vibrancy, and when you're here, we experience that life and vibrancy. So, man, it's good to see you all on the Sunday.
Yeah. Let's just keep it going. We do want to say a big thanks to all of our volunteers behind the scenes, whether that's they're in the lobby, our folks who've been working hard. They get here early and prep all the refreshments, and folks cleaning up, and our kids workers, which, by the way, as numbers increase, we need more of our workers to come back. And there's a whole lot of you who are approved, who have been down there before. And man, if you'd be willing to come back and jump back in, especially as we approach Easter, we're gonna need you
for sure.
So spread the word out there that we need more folks to help out with our kids ministry. Susan's doing a bang up job, just keeping things going and working hard behind the scenes with schedules and maneuvering a lot of folks. It takes an army, and so keep that up. For parents, thanks for your patience, especially on the checkout side. It's kind of lining up down there, so thanks for being patient with us. We're working through that.
And you guys know this, the long lines and stuff. We're just gonna do whatever we can to keep your kids as safe as we can in the best appropriate ways, and those are things we revisit from time to time on procedures and processes and that kind of stuff. So thanks for bearing with us for the safety of your kids and being patient with us. And JC, like you said, man, the need for more people to serve. You just got me thinking, man. If we think back. For any of you who grew up in the church, and I didn't start going to church till I was a little bit later. I went a little bit when I was a little kid, and then there was a gap, and then I started going in high school. But you think back to those people who influenced you when you first went to church, and if you grew up in a kid, if you were a Buick, brought up in church kid, as they say, then not the car, but the brought up in church kid, you had those people who invested in you. And you probably think fondly to some of them, like, and you've got names that come to mind. what an honor it is for you to have the opportunity to be that for somebody else.
Yeah.
And to help that other person. And I think of the people who've invested in my kids over the years, and the debt that I have, that those people have come alongside my wife and I to help our kids find Jesus and follow Jesus and walk with Jesus now. So what a cool way for you, if you're able, if you have any inclination at all, what a great opportunity for you to help our younger ones get close to Jesus.
Yes.
We need you, but I think even more than our need is your need. Like it's just going to be good for your soul. So sign up for that.
We've created just a straight path each week on that digital connect that you get on your phone, and if you don't get that on Sunday morning, all you got to do is text keyword connect to 289-1387. And that brings up a set of buttons, and there's one right at the top. It says Serve in Kids Ministry. Just click that, and it'll ask for your name and contact info, and that'll get the ball rolling. Okay.
On a funny note, isn't it easy how easily we can remember that number in situations like this? But as soon as we're on the platform on the Sunday, every number, everything we're supposed to remember, it just there's just something about that moment.
That's why we encourage you, once that text comes in, then save that number as Okolona Christian Church. Then you just know, and it's easy. But that's the gateway to really all things connectivity wise, so take advantage of that. It's really simple and easy to use. We have these things with us all the time now, so that's what we're just trying to leverage that access or that
number 502-289-1387. If you've not texted it before, text it now. And type in connect. And
simple.
Connect with us.
All right. One other thing, looking back real quick, was the culmination of a month of preparation and contributions, over $12,000 of contributions to make it possible to pack. Ended up packing 50,000 meals this past Sunday for Honduras, which was so cool. Awesome. We're going to celebrate that this coming Sunday with some footage from that. So look forward to showing that a little bit in more detail. But again, we just wanted to celebrate that and say thanks and know that that's going to go a long way in making an impact with folks in Honduras.
It's going to change lives, man.
Yeah. All right. What this past Sunday it was week 4 of At the Movies, and we used a unique movie called The Princess Bride, one of those cultural classics. Really funny, lighthearted, but we're able to draw some really, really important biblical principles out of that, specifically in the area of pride. One of the characters you highlighted, Fitz, funny guy, but had some problems with pride, was a guy, Vizzini.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, Vizzini is one of those guys, super comical in the movie, but we've all got a Vizzini in our life, and at times we've all been the Vizzini, where our pride is just off the charts, or we know that other person whose pride is off the charts. And when pride rears up, it's not pretty. It is never beneficial for that person or the other people around them. And Scripture tells us, man, pride goes before the fall. James tells us, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. And so you put those two things against each other, pride and humility. Well, which one's more attractive? Like, do you want to be around the person who's always talking about themselves and super prideful? And, we think of those people, they're not the people that we want to bump shoulders with. We like being around humble people who, the humble person just makes us feel better about ourselves. And when we're humble, we're helping other people connect to God and feel better about themselves and loving them. Doesn't mean that we avoid truth and that kind of stuff, but there's a different way to get at it. So, and I love that scene, though, where he's, Socrates, Aristotle, Plato, morons,
He shows his cards pretty plain and simple there, that he has puffed himself up beyond even some of the greatest philosophers of our time. So you said, I'm going to quote you here if that's okay. I know that can be a little scary when somebody says I'm going to quote you, but you said some great stuff. You said pride is the greatest obstacle in human relationships. Self-interest, self-obsession, and using people for our purposes ultimately works against us. What that speaks to is pride and manipulation. that when we're prideful, our actions become manipulative. We're just trying to use people as puppets for our own gain, and that's destructive ultimately. It may appear as though we're winning when in fact we're losing in that. So,
and the scariest way that shows up is, we know, like, you see a character like Vizzini, you know that guy's not right. But when
obvious,
but when there's a counterfeit humility that's really self-absorption, that's shrewd enough to put on an air of humility, and that counterfeit insidious pridefulness that comes in really becomes so dangerous, because that's when we use God and other people for our gain. Instead of laying ourselves down and being a servant to others, we want them to serve us. And that self-absorption, self-seeking, you fill me up is, it's kind of, early in the movie I mentioned, the as you wish or as I wish. Right. And if I'm living an as I wish lifestyle, that's dangerous. And, sometimes we have a hard time seeing that in ourselves. And so, a couple things that I've come up with to help me or to help others as we do that is, if we're having a conversation when we have differences of opinion and that kind of stuff, is to approach it with curiosity instead of condemnation. Because that gets underneath the pride. And that's just, man, if I'm saying, hey, I want to be on the same page as you, but I'm not sure that we're there. Can you help me understand where you're coming from? That's way better than saying you're wrong. And if we approach it with that curiosity, then we're a learner, and that just helps us get to it. And that anytime we're learning, we're dismantling our pride, because we're taking from somebody else, saying, I'm not quite there yet. I need to hear from somebody else.
That's a great word, dismantling our pride, because I think that's what it requires. It's sort of like you peel it off a layer at a time, or you bust it with chunks. It takes like dynamite sometimes, because we've built up. What pride does is build up these walls around ourselves. Here's another kind of test whether we're prideful or not, because I think most of us, we don't even realize it sometimes, or we've just gotten so good at the counterfeit approach, and so the test is, how easily are we offended?
Oh yeah, man.
Because if you're offended at everything, which is sort of our culture today, then you're probably dealing with some pride issues. Now, I'm not saying that there are times when we should be offended by immorality, for instance. That is offensive. But our feelings just get hurt so doggone easily sometimes that I think it's fair, and I say this with all sensitivity, that do a little gut check. I mean, am I so sensitive to anything that I just can't, and our interests become inward focused, and we just lose perspective. So
the Apostle Paul even says the gospel will offend us. That as we approach God's word, it should be offensive. Not offensive as we're turned off from, but it offends our pride, it offends our self-absorption, it offends the fleshly side of us. And so if that part is not having some kind of visceral reaction when we get into God's word or when we get into church, then we're probably missing what God has for us. And that's tough, man. And I'll be the first to admit, like, that's, when you read through the prophets, man, those boys brought some tough messages. So
good stuff, man. Well, let's we're looking forward to a couple things. One is a few weeks down the road, just 3.5 weeks now, and that's Easter. And we shared Sunday our official kind of plan logistically for that, our times and our services. So just a reminder that's right in front of us. We're at the movies has been an incredible opportunity to invite our friends and our neighbors. Easter, of course, presents that opportunity. So we feel like we've been building momentum right up to Easter. We're preparing our minds and hearts spiritually through the season of Lent. We're praying. We're hopefully giving up some things and replacing those with the presence of God and time in His Word with Him. We're thinking about people that need Jesus.
Yeah.
Again, we're laying our pride down. This isn't about us anymore. This is about reaching people for Jesus. And so Easter presents that opportunity. We've got invitations available. We're pushing stuff out online, social media. So use that. Don't come alone. Don't experience Easter alone.
And that's the key thing, for us to invite. But the invitation's very different when you say, hey, you should come to my church for Easter, than it is when you say, hey, would you be willing to join me at church for Easter? When you invite somebody to join you, and that gets tough because that means, man, I might need to reorient my schedule and my plans to help them come. If the Saturday night option is the one that's best for them, am I willing to change some family plans and be there on a Saturday night to have that person not have to come alone? Am I willing to go to this service on Sunday that I don't normally come to so that they'll join me at it, or even come to a couple services, serve one and then sit with them at another? So, invite that person to join you at Easter. Here at OCC.
So 5 o'clock Saturday, April 3rd, and then 9:30 and 11 on April 4th on Sunday morning. Looking forward to it, man. We'll talk more about that. We'll introduce the series that we're heading into next week. This coming Sunday is our last week of At the Movies. And then we'll make the turn to a new series that takes us into Easter. So week 5 coming up of At the Movies, we're going to be talking about clothing ourselves in righteousness and what it means to be a new creation of God. Again, movie keeping secret, but a little hint, it's one of our kind of modern day cultural superheroes that we're going to look at and use some ideas from the movie.
And it's been so fun for me to hear from some of you. I had somebody mention a couple of weeks ago, Fitz, you kind of ruined movies for me, but in a really good way. I can't watch a movie now and not look for spiritual metaphors and see hey, that's a hint towards the reality of God. And so all of the messages are imperfect. The metaphor is always an imperfect one. Somebody else, I love this, man. It's just got me thinking scripturally every time I encounter something, but also when I turn on the radio. And man, that's the point, is to think biblically and to develop a biblical worldview so that we're always thinking critically about all the stuff that comes at us. And looking for, hey, how would I leverage this to help somebody else connect with God? Or maybe, what are the signs here, that undertone that God's thumbprint is on the whole of his creation, on every part of his creation, and even the distorted parts. And so where might God be saying, hey, don't forget about this? That's been fun, because that's part of the point of us doing the series, man, is to get us thinking along those lines.
All right, man. Well, we're going to wrap it up, and it's been another great session with you. We look forward to this Sunday, and we'll see you at 9:30 or 11 on campus, online. Have a great rest of the week. Love you guys.
Enjoy the warm weather. We'll see you Sunday.